On the Mic. On the Mic with your host, Suleiman Al-Zahafi. Hi, welcome ladies and gentlemen to yet another episode of On the Mic with your host, Suleiman Al-Zahafi. You know, every day, every week, we meet people from all around the world and learning about their experience, learning about their lifestyle, learning about their perspective of life is quite amazing. Especially nowadays in the world, we are very multinational. We are very engaged with all nations around the world. It was not like 50, 100 years ago. Times have changed. Social media has improved it to where we're able to connect with anyone and everyone around the world. But here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the kingdom has gone through amazing transformation, and that allowed the international community to come in and learn and embrace and experience the Saudi culture and traditions. And I've always wanted to know the perspective of individuals outside the kingdom. How is their lifestyle? What do they do for fun? What do they enjoy? What have they experienced here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we have our next esteemed guest joining us here on the show for the On the Mic, Mr. Sebastien Gilson. Thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us on a short notice.
Yes, you're welcome, Suleiman. Good day, everyone.
First of all, Sebastien, give us a little introduction. Tell us where you're from, what do you do, and how long have you been here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
Okay, so despite the French accent, I am actually not French. I am from the Kingdom of Belgium.
Oh, that's a surprise, huh? Surprise.
Yeah. So this is next to France indeed, but as you can tell, my mother tongue is French, but I am from Belgium. And despite I am from Belgium, actually I was not born in Belgium. I was born and raised in Burundi, in Africa.
And where?
Because in Burundi, it's the center of Africa. It's also known as the heart of Africa.
Okay, that's very unexpected.
Absolutely, but actually Belgium and Burundi have been linked. We have some past in the colonies there, so Burundi is an old Belgian colony. And that's how my grandfather, after the Second World War, moved actually to Africa. He wanted to go to Katanga, and while crossing Burundi, he liked it very much. So he settled there, and my father was born there, his brother, my brother, and me, the last one, I was born in Burundi. So deep in my heart, I'm still an African child. I really enjoyed this time in Africa. And I actually moved out of Burundi when I was 12. And that's the time I discovered my country, Belgium. And I also discovered winter. And I discovered the snow, and I discovered the cold, and I didn't like it so much.
Okay.
So that's why I studied hard to become an engineer. And my plan was actually to work on big infrastructure projects around the world, and preferably in warmer countries like Africa and like Saudi Arabia, obviously. And so nowadays, I work for a company that is involved in infrastructure projects, and I am here in Riyadh for almost 10 years, so it's been 9 years and a half, and
wow.
still counting.
Yeah.
Yes, and I am here actually to work on the metro project.
Okay, so I don't know, it's like a project has been delayed, so I don't know if you're the guy like kind of enjoying Africa a little too longer and coming back.
No, we are getting there. I mean, such a big infrastructure project is the challenge, but we are getting there, and it's an amazing experience. It's the biggest metro project
in the
world, actually. So,
good things take time. Good things take time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so pretty much you're like United Nation into one. You know, you've been here, you were born here, you're from here, so it's like a very quick trip around the world.
I am an international person, obviously, yes.
Indeed. And for yourself, you're an engineer. You've been here for almost 10 years, nine and a half, something like that. What made you want to come to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? You know, you experienced African life, you experienced the European life, now the Middle Eastern. What was something that convinced you to come here?
That's an excellent question. I didn't choose Saudi Arabia per se. I was actually in Cameroon before coming here. And when my project in Cameroon was completing, I was in that time working into a substation and power stations, transmission line construction in the jungle in Africa. That was amazing, by the way, as well. And I was looking to work on bigger projects. So my company headquarters, they were looking for some experienced project manager because I'm an engineer, but now I moved to project management. And they were looking for a senior project manager to work on this Riyadh Metro project. And that's how I got contacted to have an opportunity to work in Saudi Arabia. But to be clear, my question was, it's a big project? Yes, it's a big project. Okay, I'm going. Where did you say it is? It's in Saudi Arabia. But it's big. Yeah, I'm going, wherever. So that's how I came here. You know, wherever it was, I wanted a big project. That was my next career goal. And eventually it turned out to be an excellent experience. I mean, you know, to stay here for almost 10 years, you must love it.
So it was like a 30-second conversation. You went with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So I guess we have to start learning from that because I think life is too short. Never say no. You know,
yeah,
go for
absolutely. And it's a very good experience so far. And obviously at the beginning, you know, I told people, yeah, I'm going to do a big project, but where is it? Oh, in Saudi Arabia. And whoa, people had a lot of prejudices, you know, so I came here with preconceived idea. And well, I've experienced the change in the country, obviously, but from the beginning, I loved it. But you have to understand, before being here, I was in the jungle in Africa. So I barely had an internet connection. And it was a shared connection only on the site. And at home, I had no internet. I had a mobile phone, but it was not the time that we know today. And then they bring me here in Riyadh, that is quite busy. You know, we have electricity, we have water, we have high-speed internet. I could call my family. So for me, it was like, yeah, absolutely much better. It was like a promotion.
So we spoiled you here already.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
But you know, it's quite interesting. You know, I never really knew all this about it. When I'm very glad we have you on the show. It's quite interesting because your lifestyle is kind of unique. Middle of Africa,
yes.
You're not French. You sound French, but you're you know, European country. So
Yeah.
you've been here for 10 years. This is amazing. Let me ask you something. What surprised you the most coming to Saudi Arabia? What was it? Before, during, and after. Let's give a little mix on that.
Well, the first thing that surprised me when I crossed the border, and it was within the first minute, you know, we take the airport road from King Khalid International Airport to the city center. I noticed the speed limit, and I could not read the figures. I could not read what was the figure written there, and I was like, wow, what are these figures? I mean, I've been told that I use the Arabic numbers.
Yeah.
And I am in an Arab country. They should use Arabic number. So I was very surprised to see that the number were not the same as our number. And that's also a preconceived idea that we have in Europe. We believe that we use Arabic numerals, but actually I learned then that these are not Arabic numerals. These are Hindu numerals.
Yeah.
So we call them Arabic number because we got them from the Islamic world, but they are Hindus actually.
So you're very well read.
That was my first surprise.
You're very well read. Very few people know about that.
Well, it's because the opportunity happened to me. I'm like, I must understand why. And then I went to the bank. You know, you have this digit there. It was the same. I took a picture. I remember I posted it on Facebook. I said, look, this is Saudi Arabia. Would you believe that? These are the Arabic numbers, not those that we know. So yeah, that was my first surprise. Then, of course, on a more general note, you know, the segregation between singles and families at the restaurant was a bit surprising, I must admit. But these things have changed somehow. And not in a negative way, you know, this is a culture. So I was observing, but that was obviously surprising. And another thing, it was the absence of music in public places, you know, to be at the restaurant without the background music and things like that. But you can live without that, obviously.
That was the pre-2030. You know, that was everything before 2030.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the price of the oil as well. As far as I remember, it was something like 10 or 15 halala for 1 liter. And now we are 2.3. So it's 10 times the price now.
You know, we were spoiled in the back old days, you know?
Yeah.
It was very good.
That was also a surprise. You know, when I compare to the price that we have in my country, I was like, wow, so cheap. So, yeah, obviously.
So I think you realize, like, oh my God, I can definitely live here. So
Yeah. No, definitely. As I told you, I was coming from the jungle, so for me, everything was better in Riyadh.
so from the jungle to the desert.
Yeah, somehow, yeah. And that's a positive surprise, by the way. The
Indeed.
desert is really something I was not expecting. When I came here, I was looking for a car, and personally, I like the Volkswagen Golf. I don't know if you know that car, but it's a great sedan car. It's a legendary car, but it's not. You are not showing off with that. So that's what I was thinking I would take, and people told me, "But you're crazy. Here you cannot have that. It's not suitable for Saudi Arabia." And they advised me to take a Toyota Prado. And I was like, wow, this is too big. I will never manage to drive that. And actually, that was an excellent advice, because this is what you need to explore the true Saudi Arabia, which is outside of Riyadh. It is the backcountry and the desert.
Yeah.
And there are different type of desert, not only sand dunes. Of course, you have rocks and wadis and all these things. And personally, that's the best part of Saudi Arabia for me, is the nature. And I got to learn that from the Western world point of view, the desert is something quite negative. But no, the desert is nature, and it's also beautiful. Really, the sand dunes.
Sebastian, that's our
unique
secret
landscape.
in the Middle East. That's our secret in the Middle East.
Yes. We have a lot of secrets here.
We call it
the ideas about Saudi. And we kind of agree between the expats. When we go back home, we tell them life is difficult here, so not too many people come, and we keep the desert for ourselves, and we enjoy it for ourselves.
It's like my friend described it the best way possible. He was like the Jews in the desert,
Yeah.
So it's right there. Like, people do not realize the beauty of the desert, the beauty of the landscape and everything. But yeah, and I was given some information about you, which surprised me. You're a type of person, you're very outdoorsy. Tell us more about that. Tell us what you do.
Yes, absolutely. So, as you understood, I fell in love with the desert that I didn't know before coming here. And it became a kind of a passion. So I like to spend my weekend into the desert with my friends. So we like to meet on Friday morning at a gas station. So we fill our tank, and then we head to the desert with the 4x4 cars, obviously. Word of caution, you need a 4x4 car, and you need some experience. And obviously, the first rule is never to go alone into the desert.
True.
Because you can definitely die in the desert, literally die. Imagine you get stuck into the sand and you don't have water. Well, you will not last long. So we also insist on water, secondly, because you will normally not die of hunger, but you will die of thirst. So you need to have enough water. And then what we do, we plan our trace with Google Earth or software like that, and we put that into our GPS, and then we follow these traces, and we leave the hardtop, and we drive into the desert. We ride on sand dunes, we cross wadis. And then comes the night, and that's the best part. The time we stop, we camp, we socialize. And this is another world, and starting is the dark sky of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, you know how beautiful that is,
It is amazing. And in Belgium, we have a lot of highways. And this is something quite negative about Belgium, but all of our highways have electricity. We have lights on the highway. So it's a very light polluted country. So you don't see really the stars in Belgium.
We call that light pollution. You're so polluted with the lights and surrounded by that you don't enjoy the actual nature.
Exactly. You don't see the stars in Belgium. It's when you there are actually maps of light pollution, and so you can see Riyadh, obviously, and that's why we go out into the desert. But then between cities in Saudi Arabia, there is not much. So it's very dark. And Saudi Arabia is an amazing place to enjoy the night sky and the dark sky. So that's something we do. Every 4 weeks you have a new moon. And today, by the way, is a new moon. So we had the eclipse. What we like to do as well is to take picture of the night sky. So the Milky Way, I guess you know what it is. I mean, the Milky Way is the border of our galaxy.
Yeah.
So it looks like a disc in the sky. So imagine you are inside a CD. If you look towards the border, you see a band. So there is a big ring around us that looks like milk in the coffee, and that's why we call him somehow the Milky Way. And that's really amazing to see, to take picture of that. And some of my friends, they are also into a deep sky object observation. So they have telescope and they take picture of that as well. And Saudi Arabia is really suitable for that. It's a great location because we don't have light pollution when we go into the desert.
Indeed, that was the first time I've seen the night sky like this in my life.
Well, yes. I've been told that only 1/3 of the human will see in their life the Milky Way by eye. All the others will never see that because they are in cities and they will never be given a chance to see the Milky Way by eye. And when you see it the first time, indeed, what is that? They are clouds in the sky. No, these are not clouds. This is the border of our galaxy. So it's something really nice. And it doesn't take any equipment. I was talking about telescope, but you don't really need it. You can really go by eye and see the stars. And, there are 5-star hotels, they are building 6-star hotels. But when we sleep into the desert, we call that the million-star hotel.
That's true.
Yeah. So we are by ourselves, and that's the best. And I like to sleep on a cot bed, so open sky. So I am in my bed, in my sleeping bag, and I just look at the stars and I fall asleep there. It's, wow, that's the best memory of Saudi Arabia. Really.
That is amazing. That's amazing. Wow.
And other interesting time, obviously, is the sunset and the sunrise. So we make sure to wake up before that. And so we see all that's really, really lovely. And I think Saudi Arabia has understood that. I see that there are some projects around astrophotography and astronomy and enjoying the desert, obviously. So that's really good because there is a huge potential there.
For you, were you into astronomy before coming to Saudi Arabia? Were you into like the night sky and the planets, or was it something you developed here in Riyadh?
Yeah, excellent question. And indeed, I discovered that here. Same with driving into the desert, As I said, when I came, I wanted a Volkswagen Golf. I had no clue about driving into the desert. And people taught me. I mean, we have a group of friends, of experienced people. We have all the gear. And I've learned that, and I love it now. Obviously, it's a very special feeling to drive on sand dunes, and it's nice experience. It's the whole atmosphere. And you can see, Dakar is also here in Saudi Arabia, but that's a bit the same. Every day they sleep into the desert, then they wake up, they drive, and at night they have the camp, the socializing aspect. So we are doing our mini Dakar every weekend.
Wow. So you're very adventurous, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. You can compare that to adventure, yeah. Because when someone gets stuck, we need to unstuck, and sometimes there's a bit of damage here and there. So no, it's an adventure each time, but most of the time nothing is happening, obviously. But
for you, it's like coming to Saudi Arabia, you lived in Africa and everything. What was your experience in trying the local traditional food in Saudi Arabia, and different regions, different way of cooking, different kind of method of food? What was your experience? What's your favorite type of dish?
Well, the food in Middle East is very good, I have to say. Saudi Arabia, as far as I know, they don't have really a specific food. Maybe kebsa is Saudi, but it's a lot of Lebanese food, as I have understood. And typically taboul, fatouche, these are my favorite salad now. I really like that. So the food is very... it's different, of course, from Europe because we have different fruits here. But that's another nice aspect, obviously. And I tried camel meat.
How was it?
So, it was an interesting experience. Not so much as the crocodile in Cameroon, but
not so much of the crocodile.
Yeah, crocodile in Cameroon. I think that's the most interesting thing I ate. It's like chicken a bit, crocodile. Yeah.
I hope you're not the one that went to go hunt it.
No. No, but by the way, when you're an African child, crocodile is the animal that scared you. I remember dreaming about crocodile because we had a lake in Burundi and the crocodile was sometimes eating some fishermen there. So that's an animal that has scared my childhood. While in Europe, it would be more the wolf, but for us in Africa, was the crocodile, yeah.
I'm surprised, people have the impression of lions and tigers and like wild animals, but crocodiles? Wow.
Yeah. So the crocodile from the Nile, actually, because the Nile River is starting from Burundi, Rwanda, about, so we have the same type of crocodile. Then if you go to Kenya, of course, you have the lion, and Tanzania, the lion as well. So, Yeah.
Well, at least you're the crocodile hunter, not the lion hunter. That makes it
Yeah.
easier.
Absolutely.
Also, Sebastian, what changes have you witnessed here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? You've been here for almost 10 years, so you've
Yeah.
seen the changes. You came here, I believe, in 2012, 2000 something like that. So
Yeah,
you've
exactly.
seen the changes
2013.
happening. In the beginning, there was not much activity going on. You were more outdoors and everything. But nowadays, everything's happening indoor, also outdoors and everything, from events, concerts, music, and everything. What was the changes you experienced? Walk us through it.
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, I think first of all, the segregation between single and families. I mean, this tend to disappear. When I arrived as well, we had the religious police, during the prayer time, the mutawas were around, we could not sit, it was a different atmosphere. So this also somehow is from the past. And then the music in public places, definitely. And today it's sometimes even too much, It's, can you make it a bit less loud because we cannot
Be
hear
careful
ourselves.
what you wish for.
Yeah. Well, and and the price of the oil, as I mentioned. So these are things that I've seen changing. But in terms of entertainment, the cinema is another change. Nice to have. I was talking about it last weekend with friends, and people remember the time they used to travel to Bahrain to watch movies, and now we have everything here. So that's very nice. Top of my head, that these are the main changes, but these are big changes somehow.
For you, have you traveled also to any regions outside of Riyadh? Any interesting regions you think is interesting to share?
Yes, obviously. So I wanted to add as well, the women driving is a change. But I've been around Saudi Arabia. I was in Jizan. I was in Neom. I went to Neom before somehow everything started. I was in Tabuk. I was at every corner, Najran. So there are beautiful places in Saudi, and Hail is one of those that I like as well. Because being from Belgium, we don't have big cities like Riyadh, and Hail is more the size of a Belgian city. So I like it, and the volcanoes around, it's a very nice region. And then Abha is my second one that I like, with the mountain and the cliff going down to the valley and to Jizan.
Wow.
Jeddah is also very nice. I would enjoy living in Jeddah if I had an opportunity in the future. I see Jeddah a bit like Dubai, but without all the posh that you can get in Dubai, and it's much more authentic in Jeddah. So I prefer it to Dubai.
That is very true and very good perspective also. So yeah, it seems like you've traveled more in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia than Saudis have.
Yeah, that's what my colleagues tell me all the time. You've been to more places than us, like Bisha, Wadi Adawasi, Al Jof, I've seen a lot, but it's a beautiful country. And you have to understand, for me who comes from Belgium, it's also a kingdom, but it's a very small kingdom. You know how many Belgium there is in Saudi Arabia?
How many?
70. You put 70 times Belgium in Saudi Arabia.
So that means you're trying to do 70 experiences here in the kingdom to go catch up.
Yeah, and the population in Saudi Arabia is 3 times only the population of Belgium. So the density of population is less lower in Saudi Arabia. So when I go into the desert and I see only nature, well, that's something barely possible in Belgium. The density is too high. So it's a feeling of freedom to be here for someone like me. Yeah.
They all saying is like, when you're in a crowded city, you want to go to the outskirts of the city, outside. But when you're the outside, you want to come to the city. The saying is like, is it actually greener on the other side? But here in Saudi Arabia, it's actually more desert, but it's more peaceful. I had a lot of people saying that they go to the desert, they camp, they sleep for 4 or 5 hours, and it feels like they slept for 12 hours. Have you noticed that or no?
Absolutely. Again, last weekend we were into the desert, and a friend was saying that 4 hours into the desert, sleeping into the desert is like 8 hours in the city. And the quietness at night. You don't have the AC running into the background. You don't have any car, any mosque. It's so quiet. It's the nature. But then there is wind, and you hear everything. The nature is talking to you. So, no, it's really lovely. I wish for every expat here to experience that at least once.
Indeed, and coming close to the interview, Tell us more. We know what you do for fun and everything. What else do you do for your time of leisure and your downtime besides camping and everything? Tell us a little more about yourself.
Well, this year I set myself a challenge was to run a marathon.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, 1st of January, we were a bunch of friends. And I said, what are we doing this year? And someone said, there's a marathon in Riyadh on the 5th of March. And I wanted to run that marathon. So I trained for it. But I don't know if you remember, but on the 4th of March, we had a massive sandstorm in Riyadh. So I eventually didn't run the marathon on the 5th of March because the quality of the air was really bad. And that's a problem, unfortunately, in Riyadh, is that we don't have a good quality of the air. But this being said, yes, I am running a lot. I am running a lot in Riyadh early morning. So 10 kilometers here and there from every week. I run about
You're
40,
running
40
10 kilos a day?
Yeah, so my plan is 12 kilometers on Sunday. Then on Monday, I swim. On Tuesday, I do the interval. So it's 800 meter full speed and 800 meters slower. I do that from 6 to 10 times.
Wow.
And then on Wednesday, I run another 12K. Thursday is the rest day. And Friday is the long run, so about 20 kilometers. And all that to train for the marathon, because I could not run Riyadh Marathon, so I've been looking for another meaningful marathon in the region. It had to be this year because that's my target of the year. So I'm gonna run in Abu Dhabi in December this year. So
it's like you have tiger blood, the way you're going about it. Very athletic.
Yeah, my body has changed this year. It's amazing the benefit of starting running. And this is what Saudi Arabia wants with the Sport for All organization. That's why they arrange all these sports events and the marathon, and they're absolutely right. So we are all starting to do more sport, and because the weather is so good here, okay, maybe it's hot during the day, but if you do it in the evening or at night, it's very nice.
Very nice.
So, that's another thing I like to do.
I call that tea time,
Yeah, okay.
I call that tea time. But definitely thank you so much, Sebastien, for joining us for here on the mic. Any final words or message you would like to say before we conclude the interview?
Well, I think I just want to say, after so many years here and meeting so many interesting Saudi people and young Saudi engineers, that I really love this country. I love the beauty of Saudi Arabia. And I know after the project I will be leaving, but I will always keep this country into my heart. And I hope that the country will thrive, especially for my young colleagues. And I wish them a good life in this amazing kingdom, really, that I love.
Well, definitely, we enjoy your presence and we enjoy your moments and experience you have here, especially, for us as Saudis living in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We get used to it. We sometimes forget the beauty we have in our backyard. But for individuals like you remind us. You let us have that flavor again, that taste of beauty. So we're very grateful for your kind words and everything. And hopefully your inspiration inspired others to join the marathon. For me, I am going to start exercising more, not marathon level. I'm going to be honest about that. But
No, you need to start slow. Don't go too fast, indeed. Otherwise, you will get injured. But,
indeed. But definitely thank you so much for joining us today.
But thank you for your invitation and for your kindness.
It's an absolute pleasure. We love hearing about your experience. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sebastien Gilson joining us here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the beautiful capital city of Riyadh, for the show On the Mic, giving an amazing perspective of his lifestyle, coming from Africa, a European national, coming to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, joining the amazing experiences and changes happening, his wild adventures in the desert, camping, looking at the stars and everything. So it goes to show that the sky's the limit. No, with Sebastien, the Milky Way, I guess, is the limit for us. So always aim high, do the best you can, and enjoy life. Life is too short. And Sebastien's definitely living every moment of that as individual who loves traveling, individual who loves adventures, and individual who loves to share his amazing stories. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for the On the Mic show with myself, Suleiman Az-Zahafi. Till further episodes, more interesting discussions and very fruitful experiences for us to be joining here on the mic. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.